Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Marvel. I am Thanos 011. Marvel. I am Thanos Chapter 011. Kathy, the big beauty of the Marvel world, took the initiative to give her first kiss to Gutn, or Thanos. Others were stunned. Hey, what are you two doing? Is it okay not to make out when fighting? Can you focus a little? Cooper has liked Kathy for a long time and has always wanted to pursue her, and now seeing the girl he likes kissing another man, he naturally feels very uncomfortable. And Lincoln laughed when he saw it. What an infatuated man, I like it. Asian boy, we are still quite similar in terms of feelings. I am to my queen, and I am like you to this girl in front of me. No matter what time of day, I only see her in my eyes, even if there is a sea of fire in front of me. Queen, is it referring to Daisy John? However, when the two were in love, they didn't see that Lincoln was so obsessed with Daisy. Gutn didn't pay attention to him, and concentrated on feeling the wonderful moment that the girl in front of him brought him. A girl is a girl, even if it is only a slight touch. The sense of beauty is better than those experienced old women who are more skillful and flattering, because her every move is more real and more heartfelt. System. Congratulations to the host for getting Kathis like, you get 3,000 points. Do you want to redeem the item now? Quote. Kissing does not necessarily mean liking, but after these 2 days of getting along day and night, Kathy has actually long had a good impression of Gutn, and this kissing just completely sublimated this good feeling into love. At this time, Kathy also stopped shyly. Gutn reached out and touched the hot ears under her silky long hair, looked at her with a smile, and then asked the system in his heart, is there any medicine that can restore my strength? Quote. System. It is recommended that the host take the Poria Chingden in, Breaking the Sky, which can help the host's body return to its peak state. Price, 3,000 points. Quote. Oh, I didn't expect that the elixir in the fantasy novel actually had an effect on the heroes of the Marvel world, and the system was really powerful. Gutn did not hesitate and immediately used 3,000 points to purchase a Porridge Chingden. It was late at night, and everyone didn't notice that Gutn suddenly had an extra pill in his hand, and Gutn also quietly and quickly put the pill in his mouth and swallowed it. System. Detecting host body recovery. The host body is recovering, 10%, 11%, 12%. After the Poria Chingden effect is used, the host's body has recovered to 20%, increasing its combat power by 10%. A Poria Chingden can only restore one success, but this is also very good. With Thanos' 2% strength, it is enough to deal with this Pikachu who will discharge. Seeing that Gutn and Kathy no longer kissed, Lincoln laughed and ridiculed, Hercules, why don't you continue to kiss? Ready to keep fighting. Quote. Ha ha ha, boss, you beat him to the point where you can't resist, how dare he do anything to you again? The little minions around him catered to Lincoln. Gutn took a step forward. The frolic is over, Pikachu, just now I was just teasing you, my girlfriend likes to watch you discharge, so I didn't fight back, you can try again now. Quote. What the hell is Pikachu? Lincoln sneered, in that case, then I'll make you suffer a little more. Quote. Moisture. Lincoln launched an electric attack at Gutn with both hands, and Gutn raised his left arm again to resist. Lincoln had a smile on his face, thinking that the plot would be the same as just now, but who expected that this time, Gutn actually resisted the attack while quickly rushing towards him. What? Lincoln was taken aback. Just now Gutn could only defend under the attack, it was difficult to walk in place. This time, how could he walk? Still going so fast. Lincoln panicked, while attacking, while retreating, but Lincoln's speed was not comparable to Gutn. Gutn took a few steps, and quickly approached and came to Lincoln. Suffered. The boss is close. Cooper and the others panicked. They could see that the two were like one was a mage and the other was a warrior. If they were close to Gutn, then Lincoln had no chance of winning. Sure enough, as soon as Lincoln was caught by Gutn, he became helpless, and Gutn grabbed Lincoln, like the Hulk threw Loki in the Battle of New York, bang, smashing Lincoln from left to right, and then from right to left. Every time the body hits the ground, the hearts of others jump with it. Stop. I throw in the towel. I recognize you as the boss. Lincoln spat blood from his mouth and kept begging for mercy. Seeing Lincoln begging for mercy, Cooper and the others quickly knelt down. Bay Area boss, please forgive us, we will definitely follow you sincerely in the future, you can let us do anything. Quote. Gu Tianchong Cooper, these little furry children said, how far to roll, Lao Tzu is the overlord of the universe. It's not the boss of the Bay Area. Quote. Yes, yes, yes. Cooper and the others were so frightened that they quickly fled and left. Kathy also hurriedly stepped forward, her voice a little trembling. Gu Tian, are you going to be ready to kill him? Quote. Marvel. I am Thanos 012. Marvel. I am Thanos. Chapter 012. Kathy originally thought that Gu Tian was a boy of the same age as her, but just now saw Gu Tian throw Lincoln on the ground, and suddenly realized that Gu Tian was by no means an ordinary person, and also saw Gu Tian's brutal side. In fact, Gu Tian was reborn into Thanos, more or less with a little Thanos's emotions, especially when fighting. He can obviously feel that he is also a little unable to control himself. Now, Gu Tian was already very calm. Fool, how can I kill people? I'm a good person. Quote. After that, Gu Tian took the injured Lincoln to the house and made him a cup of hot coffee, because in his impression, Lincoln was a good person, so he wanted to know what happened to Lincoln. Gu Tian asked, did you go to space with Ward, that is, the hive, and the spacecraft didn't blow itself up? How did you survive? What about the hive? Is he alive too? Quote. Lincoln shook his head. I don't know, I really don't know what happened in space. When I woke up, people had already returned to Earth. Whether the hive was dead or alive, I don't know. Quote. Gu Tian didn't know if Lincoln really didn't know, or if he was deliberately hiding something, and continued to ask, then why do you want to be the boss of the Bay Area? Do those bad things? Messing around with a bunch of little riffraff? Quote. Lincoln touched his head, frowned, and looked very difficult. I don't know, my girlfriend asked me to do this, I only do what my girlfriend told me. Quote. Girlfriend? Who is your girlfriend? Gu Tian is getting more and more strange. Lincoln is also an adult, and he has also talked about a beautiful and powerful girlfriend like Daisy Johnson. How can he obey his girlfriend like a child? Lincoln continued to think hard. Her name is, damn, I don't know what her name is, she never said it. Quote. Never said that. A girlfriend who never told Lincoln's name. Lincoln was willing to do anything for her. Gu Tian believes that there must be something strange in this. Tell me where your girlfriend is now. Half an hour later, Gu Tian came to a luxury villa also located in the Bay Area. This villa is much larger than Kathy's villa, and from the outside, you can feel the magnificence of the design here. Like a palace, compared with other French-style villas, it looks unique. Holding the key given by Lincoln, Gu Tian quietly opened the door, walked in, and after pushing the door in, he saw that the decoration inside was even more golden, full of gorgeous lamps and furnishings, and the overall style was like an ancient English palace. What kind of woman lives here? Unexpectedly decorated the home like a royal palace, really consider yourself a queen. Quote. The lights were on, and the lights in various places in the rooms up and down the stairs were all on, but there was no one. Gu Tian walked upstairs softly, and when he approached the bedroom room, he finally heard some voices, the sound of a woman humming. I want to see how beautiful you are, and you actually fascinate the ex-boyfriend of a crazy girl like that. Gu Tian couldn't wait and directly pushed open the door. As soon as he opened the door, Gu Tian was immediately shocked by the scene in front of him. I saw a huge wooden barrel in the bedroom, and inside the barrel, a woman with a perfect back was inside. What is the situation? Gu Tian did not expect that in this era, there would be people who used wooden barrels to soak in flower petals to bathe. However, seeing this woman, Gu Tian didn't have any ideas. Maybe he wanted to know more about what her identity was. I don't know who this woman really is it a beauty? However, it seems that there are not many beautiful women in this Marvel world, right? I've almost come across it all, and this one is ugly and probably bigger. Quote. Gu Tian knows that the beauty may be in good shape, and he is even more curious about how this woman looks, but he does not have much expectations. After all, the widowed sister in the Marvel world has been taken by him, and the new generation of Avengers 4 inches as Kathy's first kiss was also taken away by him. The Scarlet Witch is naturally a beautiful existence, but she has not been resurrected yet, so it is impossible to appear. You're back. Lincoln's girlfriend seemed to hear the door slam, and did not turn around, but said softly, it's a heavy step to come back this time. Quote. Ha. Gu Tian smiled. Thanos is such a big man, and it is natural for my steps to be heavier. Haven't you realized that I'm not the person you think? Gutn said badly. Hearing the stranger's voice, the beauty was surprised, quickly turned around, looked panicked, and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Quote. Gutn saw the appearance of the beautiful woman and froze instantly. It's amazing. It is already impossible to describe in words. In terms of appearance alone, in terms of sexiness alone, I am afraid that even Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, Kathy, cannot compare. Of course, the reason why Gutn stayed was not because she was too beautiful, but because this woman, Gutn knew. She is none other than the Banshee from Asgard, Lorelei. Marvel. I am Thanos 013. Marvel. I am Thanos. Chapter 013. Lorelei is a character who appeared in episode 15 of the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is from Asgard, where Thor and Loki are located, and has a cosmic beauty that has caused chaos in many kingdoms. Her ability is to seduce people. As long as she puts her hand on the man, she can drive the man to do anything for her. A few years ago, Siv of Asgard, on the orders of the false king, that is, Loki disguised as Odin, came to Earth to take Lorelei away and then locked up in Asgard. After experiencing Ragnarok and Thanos snapping of his fingers, he did not expect that Lorelei was still alive and continued to plague people on Earth. Target Lorelei detected. Identity: Banshee of Asgard. Character level: A+. If the host gets Lorelei's like, he will get 9,000 points. Gutn was slightly surprised. The one from the Immortal Palace was different. It was worth 9,000 points, 9,000 points for Gutn, but 3 Ling Qingdan can restore 30% of the combat effectiveness of Thanos' body. It's just that Asgardians have a lifespan of 5,000 years. Lorelei doesn't know how many years she has lived in this universe, how many men she has seen, and she has also had a leg with Thor, and may have had an affair with Loki and even King Odin. How can such a woman with rich experience and countless men easily like a man? And also an Asian male with yellow skin on Earth. Just when Gutn was melancholy, a charming smile appeared on Lorelei's face, and then, she actually walked out of the barrel in front of Gutn, without any clothes to cover it. Gutn saw such a fragrant scene, but it was not just as simple as swallowing saliva, it was simply uneasy, and somewhere was about to explode. This is a cosmic beauty. Lorelei is not shy at all. She confidently stepped on the wet jade feet step by step towards Gutn. She definitely has this confident capital. Her figure is too good, there is no place to be picky, especially the proud part, so that Gutn's eyes are intent. Lorelei walked in front of Gutn, put her hands on Gutn's shoulders, and said with a smile, "Handsome guy, you just said that you don't want to rub people's shoulders, so where do you want to rub people's shoulders?" Quote. Lorelei's skill is that it can seduce people once in contact with the other party, and Gutn also knows that Lorelei wants to control herself, not really teasing herself. The reason why he did not dodge was because Thanos' spiritual power was very strong, and it was definitely not something that a small banshee could control. "Tell me, how did you get in? Where did Lincoln go?" Lorelei thought that she had succeeded, so she spoke to question Gutn. Gutn did not reply, and continued to keep his eyes open. Lorelei was taken aback. "I can't even control you. Who are you? This is not who you really are." Quote. Lorelei realized that the man in front of her was powerful, and he was definitely not an ordinary earthling. Gutn smiled and said, "You want to see my true face? I'm afraid that when you see it, you will be afraid." Quote. Lorelei chuckled. "I have lived for hundreds of years, and I have not met a man who scares me, because any man will submit to me." Quote. "Any man will bend to you. Don't know about Thanos." Ha. Gutn smiled coldly, and then appeared in his original form, the body of Thanos. Thanos, Lord of the Universe. After seeing it, Lorelei showed an extremely shocked look on her face, which was not easy to surprise this banshee who had lived for hundreds of years. Lorelei knelt in front of Gutn on the spot. "Please let me be your woman. I will follow you to the death." Quote. Gutn found Lorelei's current posture very tempting, but suddenly, the sound of the system disturbed his evil thoughts. System. Congratulations to the host for getting Lorelei's like, you get 9,000 points. Do you want to redeem the item now? Quote. I'll go. Gutn was taken aback. he just revealed the original form of Thanos, and he actually won Lorelei's like. Could it be that this fairy banshee has been secretly in love with Thanos for a long time? If you think about it, it also makes sense. Thanos is famous, and Lorelei has always wanted to be a woman with a powerful man like a king. The entire universe, who else can compare to Thanos? Gutn was overjoyed. Give me 3 porridge green pills immediately. Quote. Gutn obtained 3 poria chingden and swallowed them all in his mouth on the spot. System. The host body is recovering, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Quote. After the effect of poria chingden is used, the host's body recovers to 50%. Ah, Gutn couldn't help but roar. He had already recovered the power of the peak Thanos 50%. The power obviously feels much stronger than before. God, what a strong force. Lorelei, who was kneeling on the ground, looked at Gutn with adoration. With Thanos' 50% strength, as long as you don't meet Captain Marvel, it should be safe on Earth, and Gutn can no longer be afraid. Being able to recover his strength so quickly is thanks to this big beauty in front of him. Gutn helped Lorelei up and said with a bad smile, "You want to be my Thanos woman?" Quote. Marvel. I am Thanos 014. Marvel. I am Thanos. Chapter 014. Lorelei's eyes flashed with adoration, looked up at Gutn, and said, "Well, I have always admired you. I heard your story a long time ago. You want to collect 6 gems and destroy half of the people in the universe, and you really did it. It's really great." Quote. Gutn looked at and stroked Lorelei unscrupulously, and said, "Lorelei, if you want to be my woman, you must do something for me." Quote. Please Lord Thanos, I, Lorelei, will definitely fight to the death. Lorelei said with a sincere look. Speaking of which, Lorelei can control men and make men listen to his dispatches. This ability is of great use to Gutn. Because Gutn wants to blend into the Avengers camp, and then follow them to participate in the time and space hijacking plan, but Ant-Man's PIM particles are limited, only enough for 10 people, and Gutn added it, which is the 11th. Obviously, they will not let their old comrades not give it, and go to Gutn, a newcomer. Therefore, Gutn had to eliminate one of these 10 people who traveled through time and space, and then replace him himself. Gutn recalled the plot of Avengers 4, these 10 people, respectively, Thor, Rocket Raccoon, Hulk, Team America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Colonel Rhodes and Nebula. Among them, Thor knows Lorelei, knows Lorelei's ability, will not be fooled, and must not choose him. Black Widow and Nebula are women, not controlled by Lorelei, and cannot be chosen. The Rocket Raccoon is not even a person, let alone choose. The only people to choose from are Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hawkeye and Colonel Rhodes. Among them, Hulk, Team America, and Iron Man have all seen big scenes, and self-control, intelligence are outstanding. Lorelei is not easy to get hands on. These 3 people in time and space hijacking, but also played a very important role. This plan, the 3 of them, indispensable. Not to mention Ant-Man, he is the one who provides the plug-in, and he must be present globally. As a result, the only options were Hawkeye and Colonel Rhodes. Hawkeye and Black Widow are going to the planet Vomir. If I replace Hawkeye, if it is me and Black Widow, no matter which of us sacrifices, we will not get the soul gem, because Black Widow and I are not loved. Soul gems are obtained on the condition that a loved one must be sacrificed. Among these 10 people, in addition to Hawkeye and Black Widow who meet this condition, maybe Hulk and Black Widow also meet this condition, but Hulk jumped off the cliff and estimated that he would not die, so he couldn't either. If you look at it this way, there is only one candidate. Gutn touched Lorelei's delicate jade-like face, and said with a smile, I want you to help me find someone. He is called War Machine. Quote. Lorelei smiled and asked, War Machine? Tony Stark's good mate. I know, what do you want me to do to him? Kill him. Quote. Gutn shook his head and said, let him never contact the people of the Avengers, no matter what plans they have, he is not allowed to participate. Quote. Lorelei nodded and smiled. No problem, Lord Thanos, I guess you are laying out a very great plan, and I am really fortunate to be a part of this plan. Quote. Saying that, Lorelei took the initiative to lean on Gutn's body. One afternoon a week later. Gutn was playing with Kathy in the villa. Gutn pressed Kathy on the sofa, grabbed her two slender arms to prevent her from moving, and then kissed Kathy from time to time. Yay. Although Kathy pretends to be avoidant, every time she is kissed, her face will smile with a flower. After a week, the two have completely become a passionate couple and are both in love with each other. And at this moment, someone suddenly heard a bang knock on the door, very loudly, like someone who came to collect a debt. Who? So disheartening. Gutn frowned. He dared to disturb your happy moment of Uncle Thanos, looking for a fight. I'll take a look. Kathy got off the sofa, then straightened her clothes and hair that had been messed up by Gutn, and walked out. Bang bang. People outside were still banging on the door and shouting, Kathy. Kathy. Quote. Kathy opened the door and was completely stunned when she saw the man outside. And this man who came to find Kathy, after seeing Kathy, was shocked to take a step back. The two looked at each other for 10 seconds. The man outside asked in disbelief, Are you, Kathy? Quote. Kathy burst into tears and threw herself directly at the man, Dad. Quote. This man is none other than Ant-Man, Scott Lang. He just came out of the quantum realm. 5 years ago, in the big battle of Avengers 3, Ant-Man could not go to war because he was imprisoned, and when Thanos snapped his fingers, Scott had just entered the quantum realm in order to collect some special energy in subatomic space. But who knows, as soon as he entered, Thanos snapped his fingers, and Hank Pym and a generation of wasps outside disappeared in an instant, and there was no way to get him out. 5 years later, just now, a mouse passed by the trigger device, and so coincidentally, Scott came out of the quantum realm. Marvel. I am Thanos 015. Marvel. I am Thanos. Chapter 015. Scott only experienced 5 hours inside from entering the quantum realm to coming out of the quantum realm, but by the time he came out, it was already 5 years later. 5 years ago, his daughter Kathy was just an 11-year-old doll, and now she has grown into a beautiful little girl. Coupled with these 5 years of independent life, and the recent week of falling in love with Gutn, she has become more mature and feminine. This caused Scott to almost not recognize Kathy when he saw her. Oh my God, Kathy, have you become so big? Scott looked at his daughter and couldn't believe it was real. However, only 5 years older than the original, not too shocking. In the movie, Interstellar, when the protagonist left the Earth, his daughter was only a few years old, and when he returned, his daughter was in her 80s, and her children and grandchildren were full. Dad, I'm 16 years old, I miss you so much, I thought you disappeared too. Kathy shone tears of joy and kept hugging Scott. Scott then knew that 5 years had passed, and as for Thanos snapping his fingers and half of the population disappearing, he had just heard about it on the road, and he also passed by a list of tombstones of disappeared people and found his name on it. Dad, come in and talk about it. Kathy dragged Scott into the house. At this time, Scott saw that there was also a strange man in the house. Hello, Scott, I'm Gutn. Gutn took the initiative to reach out to say hello to Scott, and finally waited for Ant-Man to return, and the core plot of Avengers 4 Inches can finally begin to be staged. Scott was stunned for a moment and looked at Kathy. Kathy said shyly, He's my boyfriend. Quote, Oh, hello, Gutn, right. Hope my Chinese pronounced correctly. Scott also smiled and shook hands with Gutn. He thought that in the past 5 years, Gutn had been taking care of Kathy for him. Scott came to the sofa and sat down, constantly asking Kathy how she was doing in the past 5 years. As a father, he did not fulfill his father's responsibilities in these 5 years, which made him very guilty. Kathy held Scott's hand and said, Dad, promise me not to leave me again, okay? Quote. Scott touched Kathy's shiny hair and said, Child, not only will I not leave you, but your mother has not really left you. Believe me, I will let your mother return to you. Quote. Really, Mom didn't die. Can the half of the people who disappeared from the Earth come back? Kathy was thrilled to hear the news. Scott nodded. He found himself in the quantum realm for 5 hours, outside for 5 years. He could completely make corrections through the quantum realm, that is, build a time machine to reverse the future. In this way, the group of people who disappeared can be completely resurrected. Scott said to Kathy, Kathy, I would love to spend a little more time with you, but I now have to leave you and go to New York to find a few friends who alone can help me realize this plan. Quote. GUTN knew that Scott was going to find Iron Man and Team America, and he also wanted to mix in, so he said, Kathy hasn't seen you for 5 years, in the past 5 years, she will think of you in her dreams. I know you have great things to do, but at least stay with her for one night, and leave tomorrow. Quote. Kathy also grabbed Scott hard and didn't let him go, because she feared that this plan would be life-threatening to Scott. Scott looked at the touching daughter, and couldn't bear to leave her so soon, so he agreed to stay for one night. At 2 o'clock in the morning, after Scott coaxed Kathy to sleep, GUTN was still wandering in the yard, and Scott came out, knowing that GUTN had something to say to him. Scott smiled and walked towards GUTN. Kathy told me, you are very good to her, take care of her, love her, I am very grateful for what you have done for her. Quote. GUTN smiled slightly, it's also my luck to know Kathy. Quote. Scott sat down in a chair in the courtyard and asked, you waited for me so late, do you have something to say? You can say bluntly, you don't need to see outside, I already treat you as a family. Quote. GUTN knew that Ant-Man would leave at dawn, and he no longer talked nonsense. Mr. Ant-Man, I want to go to the Avengers Mansion with you, and I also want to join your plan to save half of the Earth. Quote. If you don't go, the Infinity Gauntlet fell into the hands of the Avengers, and they only resurrected half of the disappeared people. The key is that they will also snap their fingers to destroy Thanos. Now, GUTN is Thanos. You must take the initiative and take the gloves and gems in your own hands. Scott immediately vetoed. No, this operation is too dangerous, you don't know who you will face, we will travel to the past and face aliens, Hydra and even the past Thanos Buddha. I have to be responsible for you. I must also be responsible for my daughter's happiness. If something happens to you, how can I explain it to my daughter? Quote. Scott is different from Team America and Iron Man, he is more indecisive and less like a superhero, and when he first met Team America, he acted like a complete fan. Therefore, GUTN had to let Scott see his ability. Please like and subscribe.